Chilling, relaxing. Let's go. Let's.
I'm fantastic. How are you? Let me guess. Super awesome.
I'm exhausted.
Are you? I mean, you had like a busy like couple of weeks, huh?
Yeah, like 13 hours of traveling last week on top of the events that I did. Uh,
Yeah, you
I,
actually went and sat. Where'd you go? You went to town
ha-
hall, Congress. Where'd you go?
I went to Tallahassee. I went to the Capitol and spoke to the
Careful.
Ju-
Judiciary?
Jew yes,
Judiciary
Judiciary. There
committee?
we go.
committee.
Careful. Yep.
Yes, and spoke on behalf of a bill HB 1135, which would make grooming a third-degree felony here in the state of Florida, as well as make it the first grooming bill in the United States.
I like it.
So it did get passed. However, it does need to go through Senate. So I'm kind of like putting it out there that if anybody's listening, to write to our state capitol about this bill, uh, just to show the support on the home front from the citizens of Florida, that this is something that they should definitely pass and don't let it be on that kill bill list.
Me too. I second that. And also, too, we did. New York just had one too. We just did. One of our biggest counties on Long Island just they d- m- uh, they passed something that is like you have to play in any federally funded area, like a softball field, a high school gymnasium, anything that gets federal money. You have to play the sport to which you were assigned at birth, and that's also the first of its kind. But our stupid Governor Hochul is probably going to do something to shoot that down for some dumbass reason. But they're trying. They signed a bunch of executive orders, and so hopefully it sticks. But I have a feeling it's going to depend on November.
Well, it's called call to action from the people in your community and in mine, to actually participate. I found it very interesting. I felt like I was at the legislation Olympics when I went to the Capitol this past week. So not only was I listening to bills, uh, I was, not only was I speaking on a behalf of the bill, but there were other bills I had no earthly idea about, and how some of these bills just like really intertwine together, and can really work on the same issues but be completely different. Like you wouldn't even think of this. The HOA, they have a bill in the House right now, uh, kind of like keeping the HOA more accountable because they're making careless moves like on like what to do with the money in which they've been given, like spending $4,000 to get rid of 4 iguanas, yet one house under that HOA has 50 people living in that house. How's 50 people live in a house? This three
Yeah.
bedroom, three bath, or whatever it is. Like, why aren't they being questioned? I mean, it's one thing to have like maybe 10 people, just it's a really big family. But when you're talking about 50, well, who are these people? Are they somebody that's been trafficked? Is it a child that is being abused? Is it a criminal that isn't, you know, uh, is it a fugitive? Like whatever the case is. So it's like, wow, like that could really combat, child trafficking if they were paying more attention to details like that versus just, spending $4,000 to get rid of 4 iguanas.
So
So
welcome. We got Jana, our spirited in the middle, and Amy from the podcast Blunt and Based on Spotify. You can find them both. Jana's at Super Awesome FTL on Instagram, and Amy is at Living Right on Instagram. And Amy, you just got completely shut down on Instagram, huh? we can't follow
Yes.
you no more. Or there's a warning label
There's
to
a
follow you at
warning.
this point.
Yes. So there's a warning if you follow me. There's a warning. People got warnings for like liking a post of mine. Apparently, they did not like the screenshot of the Red Cross website that I posted that clearly stated if you got the jab, you have to call before you make the appointment to give blood because they have to confirm it verbally if they even want your blood. That's what I got a violation for. I can't have subscriptions. I can't monetize at any of my reels anyway. They have already taken that from me. They took it almost immediately, but they're not allowing gifts, subscriptions, or anything like that either.
Fun.
I'm on
And
probation for 3 months.
and Super Awesome has been shadow banned for like 18 months at this point. So, yay, let's go.
Yay.
All right, my 2 of my favorite people to run things by, and I've been spiraling, so ladies, you have to help me with this because I obviously, we've been part of the queer community for a very long time, and I always just I don't know about you guys, but I always just was like, "Oh, yeah, queer as folk, queer eye for the straight guy," whatever I was thinking that it was, apparently now it is not. Like, what did you guys think it was? When I was growing up, it was just gay guys, that could dress you well. Like, that was pretty much it. There was it was a bad word that was then good, and then it was fine.
I mean, I never knew queer as being something that anyone wanted to be called.
It was
Uh,
bad initially, and then the
right,
community took it back.
right. I mean, which to me, just you can't just change words like that. Like, I mean, that's not cool. Like, because at the end of the day, like, I mean, if you have a dictionary, you would realize, like, it isn't a very,
Words have meanings.
yeah. Like, I mean, at what point don't we just realize that, we can't just take words away because they don't like the definitions of them, but
Yeah.
yet they want to use the word, even though the word is in a negative connotation. Like, that's weird. You know what I mean?
Well, I had to look it up because I was like, I'm apparently a part of this community that is the queer community. So I had to look it up because in my head, I knew what I thought it was. And when I looked it up, I was like, oh, they have no actual definition for that word either. Kind of familiar. There's no definition for the word woman, and there's no definition for the word queer. Like,
I want to say, go ahead, finish.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, do you remember like it was our first or second episode, Jana? We looked up the word queer
It's
while we were,
weird.
yeah, because of like the evolution of it, and it literally meant like weird, right? Like
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah, it was a slur.
Um,
It was originally a slur.
right. It was, and then it has come full circle. So because now, or I guess no, it's not full circle because now it's used as something to basically umbrella the community. I mean, you
Yeah.
even see like that creator that I can't stand queer kid stuff, the
Yeah.
one that like reads what is an abortion to like, grade school kids because they need to know what an abortion is.
Yeah.
Um
Of course.
yeah. So it is odd. It's odd
It
that they've gone from this to now it's like, okay, now it's just an umbrella. Everything
there
everything is queer. Everything is
there's
queer.
right, like, you could be a straight dude, go put on a pink hat, and
And you're
you
queer.
can and you're queer. You could be a straight girl or a straight dude, balls deep in some girl somewhere, have one fingernail painted clear, and
And you're
you're
queer.
queer. Yeah, it doesn't either there's no definition for it. So then that led me down this rabbit hole to queer theory. And so I had to look it up. And surprise, surprise, no actual definition for that either. But it does link queer theory to, and this I've never heard before. Have you guys ever heard of this? It's called critical disability theory. Disability, mind you, like let's critical disability theory. So
No.
critical disability theory basically means this is the overarching umbrella. If you have ever been othered, if you're an other in some way, so like half black, black, female, uh, gay, whatever sort of marginalized thing you can think of, that is considered critical disability theory, which kind of morphed into critical race theory. And that's where they so it's queer theory, critical disability theory, because apparently if you're not a straight white male, you have a disability, and feminist theory. Those are all linked together. I couldn't even I was like, I am the most one of the most disabled people ever to walk the face of the planet then, apparently. So cool. Like I mean, it was unbelievable what it said that there's no it's just a way to again lead to demanding that people be oppressed.
What's it called?
Critical disability theory. Jeffrey Birchfield, what's up, my man? Queer theory is a critical theory that examines and critiques society's definition of gender and sexuality with the goal of revealing social and power structures at play in our lives every day. Yeah,
Yeah.
again, there's no
That
actual
that's the new
yeah,
thing, so that they can say that they can say biological sex is a social construct,
yeah.
right? And then
No, just
um
gender is a social construct.
or is it gender? I get
Yeah.
confused. It's so
Yeah, I
confusing.
know. It's
But
annoying.
it's the way that they justify separating biological sex to your identified gender. Critical disability theory. It is in the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy.
Yeah, fun. It's not even, you know what I mean? It like you can't it's an idea. It's not an
I
actual Go ahead. That's
I
your girl?
uh, no, I
Your
just
boy?
read it's I'm 62. We used it as a strange or odd person or thing. Then it started changing to a slur against homo guys. The original use was in many works of literature, right?
Yep.
Because yeah, I mean they have it queer eye for the straight guy. Like they use it in a lot of gender queer that book. Um, now they use it in a lot of things.
My
All
thing
right.
is if you look it up, it literally demands that you be marginalized. Like it demands that we're teaching kids to be marginalized. It demands that that we find a way to be part of the marginalized group. So it's
Yeah.
basically saying like go from being an oppressor to being oppressed.
Well, and that is the whole radical left's I mean that is their thing. They have to teach people how to be victims. They have to have some type of victimhood mentality or it won't work because people that are independent and free thinking are not going to succumb to things like that and they're not going to be easily influenced and they're not going to be able to be bought out. But that's that doesn't work for the left's narrative or their end game with things. So they have to keep them.
Why are we so into this though? Why are we so into like cuz before you guys are white women, right? So like you shouldn't be oppressed. You're white, you should be fine, right? Yeah, you're white, you should be fine. There should be no problem whatsoever. You guys should live in the lap of luxury. You're meant you should be at home chilling, just
Debt free, all of the above,
yeah.
right?
But
Yeah.
Yeah,
nope, feminism, now you're women, so you're automatically and you free pass to that marginalized group.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
just straight collect $200. No problems.
yep,
So now kids, in order to do that, we have to give them a free pass. So like, hey, doesn't matter, non-binary, pansexual, uh, trans, free pass straight to marginalized, straight
yep,
to oppressed.
Something's wrong with you. Someone owes you something. You have to stay in this victimhood mentality.
Why are we
I,
obsessed with that?
because they have
It's,
to be obsessed with that, because if they weren't, they would focus on like real things that matter, and that would make you think for yourself. And if you thought for yourself, you wouldn't listen to their nonsense, and well, they
yeah,
can't have that, so they want to make things as confusing as possible, because like all of those things that you guys were talking about was making my brain hurt.
And
Like at that point, like y'all are focused on some dumbass shit, and I mean, you're doing the most for what? Like, what are you accomplishing other than insecurity, constant confusion, uh, an immediate divide from any person that thinks differently than you, uh anyone that holds, any kind of value whatsoever, like, that cuts them off from that. It's just really disgusting, actually. Just makes me want to throw up in my mouth.
and they're doing it
yeah.
to like it's super early. Like we're
Well,
starting
that
this.
obviously they have to do it.
They
You have to dumb down
because
society,
yeah,
period.
So what
that's how
happens
they're
if
able to control them.
so what happens when we're all oppressed? Because if we end up all being oppressed and we're all in marginalized groups, then where do we go?
Then you do exactly what they want you to do whenever they want you to do it.
Yeah. And we live in a totalitarian society and they have achieved their goal.
That's
We
their
are owned by
goal.
the government. We're literally little worker ants. We will own nothing and we will like it, you know?
Slavery.
Uh yeah,
I haven't been out
basically.
of the matrix long enough, guys. I've only been out of the matrix for like a year and a half. So I'm figuring this out with you right now. I don't have like, oh, the Sevon podcast. We fight for limited resources. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's what you guys were just saying. Okay. Yeah. I can't even because even this, right? Like I could say that I'm trans right now. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to take a
You don't.
pill. I don't
Nope.
have to go get surgery. I can just identify. There's a difference between being trans and
Yeah.
identifying as trans. And that's what we're seeing with this queer theory crap and
Yep.
men being able to walk in women's bathrooms.
I was on TikTok last night for like 2 hours when I couldn't sleep. And a lot of the stuff was about Next Benedict, so I was just pulling a bunch of content. However, because I come
Okay,
across
hold on.
all
Let
these
me next. If for anybody who doesn't know, next Benedict, you're talking about
the
the
16-year-old
Non-binary.
non-binary. She was
non-binary girl who was in a bathroom with other kids that they did not know each other. They got into an altercation. She started the physical altercation by going over there and pouring water on these three girls. The three girls physically attacked her after the water was poured on them. But next left, went to the hospital, very minor injuries, went home, and then died the next day. Now, every report has clearly stated that the death was unrelated to the injuries at the fight. However, the trans Tifa community has blatantly lied and said that Nex was beaten to death in the bathroom, that
yeah.
it was a hate crime, all of this stuff. So there's a bunch of false narratives being pushed with this, and of course they want to push that narrative because they want, people to believe that there is a trans genocide, which, like I always say, there is a trans genocide, but it's self-inflicted because they are ignoring the real issue of mental illness. um but I was on a live, I was watching a live last night. I screenshotted it too. It says trans kids exist. You do not need dysphoria to be trans.
So they're making it just possible for you to be
Yeah,
trans at
for it
any
doesn't
time you
matter.
feel like it.
Exactly.
To make you marginalized, like
And that's
from the beginning.
I wonder how I do and I well, I had my first mom today tell me and like straight lady, husband, kids, whatever. And we were kind of talking about this a little bit and you could tell she was very fearful to talk to me about it. Like, she knows I'm gay, she knows I'm married, she knows I have a kid, and I just started going off the way that I am going off now, and she was just like, "Well, you can say it. I can't say it." And that's the first time I've ever heard that. Like, I've heard other people talk about that happening. It's the first time I've ever experienced it,
Mhm.
and it's a woman I've known for a long time. Like, we've known each other. I would just assume if she wanted to come talk to me, she could come talk to me, ask me. She had to wait for me to say, "This is bullshit, and my kid's not doing Pride Month." Like, my kid is not doing Pride Month. So and she had to wait for me to say that in order for her to feel comfortable enough for me to be like, "Well, you can say it, I can't say it." And then she started once she realized, like, I was a safe person, then she just started telling me all of the craziness that's happening in her kids' schools and whatnot. And it's waiting for us to say it.
I think the majority of society feels that way, though. The majority of
It's
society
fear.
is afraid to speak out because of trans Tifa immediately labeling. I mean, I speak out about trans people all the time. What do they call me? Transphobic. Immediately, they call me transphobic, even though I'm just literally speaking facts on things. So that I think that there is the majority of society feels that way. They are afraid to speak out because they don't want to be labeled, and because it is such a polarizing topic right now. Like, it's so heated and it's so polarizing that people are just, they're afraid to offend other people. So
Jake Chapman, the Rogan Weinstein episode recently was discussing power and control. I wonder if that's the power and control you're talking about, Jake. Are they taking the power and control away from us so that we can't say anything, so that we're afraid to go, you know, say anything or that would be my thing. They've got us so afraid to talk to each other. They have us so afraid to have just regular conversations with regular where like if I went and said transvestite or transsexual right now, everybody would look at me like I'm transphobic or homophobic or whatever the phobic you want to use is. But those were the words we used and they had
yeah.
meaning to them. They had context to them. The context was you were attempting to physically and medically alter your sex. Now there's not even that. It's so confusing that like people aren't even they're trans, but to me in my mind, they're not trans. You're not trying to actually medically or physically change your sex.
No, they're not. They're transsexual is what they are. Or they're cross dressers.
Yeah.
We have we have a
Right.
lot of the men that are just cross dressers. They call themselves lesbians
Right. Right.
because they're men that put on dresses and they want access to women's bathrooms, but they are attracted to women.
Do you I always wanted to ask this question. Do you think that queer theory is kind of trying to make it so that there is no more like uh you know gays or lesbians or like they're kind
Straight
yeah,
or nothing.
yeah.
It's
I
just you're
honestly,
barbaric. You do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want to do it. That's literally, yes, that's being straight with extra steps.
yeah.
Yeah.
100%. That's so weird, dude. So weird. No. Cuz
Honestly,
they
I don't even know because like you see like the men who date trans women and they say they're not gay, but they're dating basically a transsexual. So they're a guy dating a guy that just physically up here on the outside and maybe have, fake boobs and, is looking kind of female everywhere else, but they still have a dick. So that you're
Gay.
gay. Like you're
Gay.
gay.
I'm sorry. Somehow that became a problem to say, but you're gay. If a girl sees me and I look like a cute boy to her and she wants to date me and she's dating me and she's like I'm straight,
You're a
you're
lesbian.
not. Like you're not. I'm a whole ass woman. You're not straight. You're gay, lesbian. Like it it doesn't matter what I look like. It might make it safer for you in your head because you haven't dealt with whatever it is you needed to deal with to know who you want to sleep with. Go ahead, Jana, take it. Go, girl.
No, I mean, I'm just agreeing with you. It's just it's kind of, it makes you like, oh, am I not good enough for how I am, that you would have to identify my gender to another gender for it to be acceptable for you to date me? Like at this point now, I'm wondering if I should even be in this
You
relationship.
no.
Like
Oh,
that's real messed up. I'm
yeah.
offended. I'm real
I'm
offended.
offended. That's right. I'm offended. Canceled.
That's a real offense. You know
Like,
what I mean? Like
canceled.
that's something to be offended. Like, oh, you're dating me for what? So that you can indulge in some fantasy? Like, so what? You're trying to tear me apart or something?
Yeah.
I'm a part of your experiment. Like, I'm not sure how to take that,
It's
but
I
I'm offended.
I am also offended, but also a lot of straight women love me, so it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, I like straight women more than I like any other kind of women, honestly.
It it is.
Like I don't like gay. I don't like them
why
when they're
are
super
there so
gay.
many lesbians that are really attracted to straight women? I never understood the
It's
fascination
me.
with that.
Like that is. I don't know why. I'm sure I'm not wired correctly. So that could be the problem. But I absolutely love straight women, and that's my no.
Listen,
Okay.
slippery slope, girl. Don't go
Uh,
there. That's a tough weekend if you do that. That's a tough ass weekend.
you talk about tough 10 years. Weekend, weekend,
We literally had this
weekend.
conversation on Saturday.
God, they all do it. Y'all, I did it when I was like in my late teens,
Oh
early
my god.
20s. Of course.
See, I'm a hard learner. I'm hard headed. It take me a long time to learn something. Long time.
All right. One last, and then we can like
Eddie
go
said
and
I love straight women too. We have something in common.
All
good
right, Eddie.
because you straight. That's why. But
Uh,
the queer theory also, and just to get this out there because I don't think people talk about this enough either. And we've all kind of talked about this a little bit over Instagram or whatever, but queer theory believes that kids are sexualized at birth. That's just in their ethos, and it leads to normalizing MAPS. They call it minor attracted peoples, which is another way to normalize
pedophilia.
pedophiles.
Yeah.
Yep.
We should talk about where the roots of queer theory are coming from, and that would make sense as to why they say that children are inherently sexual at birth.
Go girl.
And that is, for one, um, Dr. Kenzing. If you guys have never heard of him, I would recommend that you do a quick Google search. You can go to YouTube. There are some little, very short documentaries you can watch of him. He is one of the big ones that has contributed to a lot of what, like, the whole LGBTQ ideology, as far as like sex is concerned, gender roles are concerned. Um, Interestingly enough, this man's whole study was from a pedophile. It was an actual pedophile, and he molested, I want to say, over 600 kids, if I'm remembering correctly. I did a
Of course he did.
few videos on him. It was absolutely disgusting. He documented, and this was from babies up until preteens, and he documented orgasms. He documented how long it took them to orgasm. He documented how long they climaxed for. We are talking about babies here.
Yeah.
He's one of the big ones that um a lot of these theories are coming from. And the other one is, what's his name, is it John Money?
Yeah.
Is
Yep.
that his name? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And very similar background. So if people really want to delve into, because people will say, oh my god, you're crazy, that's not where it goes. Look, the Kensing Institute is alive and well today. I want to say that it is in Illinois, if I'm not mistaken. You can look it up, you can look into it. You can look into his history. You can look into where he got all of his material from. Um,
Look,
and it's
it's coming out.
disgusting, but it's all pedophilia.
Look, it's coming out now that Freud was a gay dude that was just trying to protect all of his pedophile friends. And that's why he made all of those things about like kids having sexual feelings and blah. You can Google all that shit now. It's coming out everywhere that that's where like Sigmund Freud was coming from with all of his theories. And that's when you put queer and the word theory together. I heard this from a good friend of mine, and it just sounds suspect. Like, it's a theory, bruh. It's not, like, fact. Like, there's
Right.
Yeah.
This is one man's opinion.
opinion.
Yeah.
I can have an opinion on who's the greatest basketball player on the planet, doesn't mean that that's who it is. Like, it's just my theory on the topic.
Right.
So but they're making it law now, which is what is absolutely killing me. For but anyway, it's against free speech. We saw that because now if you say anything about it, you get fired. It's individual rights versus identity rights. You know what I mean? We saw that with Riley Gaines. Her
Mhm.
individual right as a woman was to win that race or, whatever. And they chose freaking Leah Thomas's identity rights over Riley
That.
Gaines's individual rights. And then the objective truth, which is just men cannot become women. It's not a thing. It you can't tell me that it is one. I'm not, like, it just isn't. So it's literally fighting everything that makes us just halfway intelligent and free thinking human beings.
One of the other big things that has always perplexed me, and it still it's just it makes no sense to me. Like the queer community will sit there and like scream about individuality and not putting people in boxes, and letting people have free expression, and they can be non-binary, and they can do this and they can do that. But what is so interesting to me, and I think like a complete contradiction, is that same community is obsessed with putting people into boxes. When you look at children, they say if a child has, they're obsessed with stereotypical gender roles.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't put people in boxes. Let them have all of this. They can literally be whatever they want to be. They don't need to be labeled. But if you see a 3-year-old little boy play with like a baby doll, oh, immediately that child is trans. Like, I don't get the thought process behind that and how quickly they will do that. And then on the other hand, it's like whenever they're talking about people that want to transition, that are like, oh, they're a boy and they want to be a girl, immediately the same people that are like, don't put anyone in a box. Well, if you're a girl, you need to wear pink, you need to have long hair, you need to wear makeup. They immediately jump into the stereotypical gender role. And it's like, where did they how did this how did we
Well,
come to this?
and that's the fun thing too about schools too, right? Like, they get God out of school, get religion out of school, no religion in school, no Bible, no say the Pledge of Allegiance, no none of this, blah blah blah. But let's put sex books in school. And let's teach them about shit that might not be real. And let's teach them about, like, I'm sorry. I would much rather have God in school than
Then
sex
have
in school.
porn. Yeah. Then have
Bring
the
God
soft
back.
porn that
Like,
they're
how
saying,
about
oh,
that?
we want to ban books.
God's not going to be touching my kid and talking to my kid about sex. So let's do that. Take all the other crap out. Maybe say the Pledge of Allegiance a couple times, and then we'll just wrap that whole thing up. That's fine. That's a nice little bow tie I can get with.
Right.
But
But then their agenda wouldn't work. So that
they
can't.
want they wanted God and religion out of school because what the Catholic Church has pedophiles in it.
Yeah.
No, like when you're really talking about God and you're making that an active characteristic, like, or something that you hold dear to yourself, like you're less likely to do things uh that would be, I don't know, like grooming
Yeah.
per se. You know what I mean? Like if you're filling yourself up with God instead of like toxic confusion of gender and sexuality, like, like that's very heavy. That's some very heavy topics, especially for children.
Yeah, God's
So
cut
you
and
know what I
dry.
mean?
Don't lie, don't hate your parents, don't kill anybody, don't it's very
Right.
easy to understand. Don't be a douchebag, don't
This will teach you how to be a better person. This is going
right.
to
Yeah.
teach you how to be a productive member of society. They do not want that. They want confusion. They want to stupefy the youth, and because they are the future. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm 40 years old, hopefully I have another 40, 50 years. Hopefully. I
So
don't
if they can get
know.
all our kids to be oppressed,
Right. There won't be a future. That's the whole point, is
then
that
no
they
one's gonna
don't.
ask any questions.
Absolutely.
Another thing is that if you
Man, I
have
don't
a
wanna play
relationship,
anymore.
Uh,
nobody
I'm
nobody
taking
does.
my ball and going home. I don't wanna play.
it's awful. Like it, because it's like opposite of who you are. You know what I mean? Like I can't believe somebody would do that. And it's just like I'm grateful I'm out of. I can't believe somebody would do that, and like on the road to trying to uh counteract the insanity that is out there today.
It's mentally exhausting.
It is.
Absolutely. I have to take breaks.
Yeah, you have to get off. You can't stay on social media just scrolling because sometimes my algorithm gets stuck in it and I need a minute. I can't. It's gross.
It can
Yeah.
become very overwhelming and very toxic.
Yep. And I mean, I think we've touched on this a little bit. Maybe Amy, not with you here, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it. Um, we talked about it. I was talking about it with some people in the deli today, and the pride flag. Does the pride flag mean anything other than who you want to sleep with?
No.
Is there any inclusivity, love, kindness? Let me hug you. Let me treat you how I want to be treated. Is any of that is that part of
Mm-mm.
the pride
It
flag
has
at all?
See, that's the thing. It has nothing to do with character of any kind. Nothing that the LGBTQIA mafia ever wants to concentrate on has anything to do with character of that person. It has everything to do with their sexuality. And that's it.
That's what
Yeah.
I
And that's what, like, we grew up in a society where, like, I don't know about you, but I don't introduce myself to people and then be like, hey, who do you like to sleep with? Like, what do you like in the bedroom? Is it dick or is it vagina? Like,
I need to
I
know this.
don't
hey,
like I
listen,
I
I'm
have
not
never
even gonna
wanted
I
to
lie.
need to
like
know this.
I just asked Jana. I asked Jana the other day. I was like, "Hey, is Amy gay or straight?" And she answered me and she was like, I have no idea." And I'm like, "You know what? I don't actually need to know. I don't really care." That's a very good point. I don't really
that,
care.
that's the thing. Like, we never went
I actually don't
around
care.
and introduced ourselves and said, "Hey, this is what,
Yeah.
hi, how
No,
are you? Hi, Jana, how are you? I like vagina in the bedroom." Like, we don't say that. What I would like to know if I want to go have a beer with you is like, "Hey, do you like dogs? Are you an
I
animal lover?"
do.
Oh, then
I
perfect,
am.
Jana. Let's go let's go have a drink, Like, we never
She must be
focus.
straight.
yeah.
Jana only likes Jana only likes straight women.
Yeah, there you go.
But seriously, like, we never focused on that. It was always, like, what do you have in common? What kind of, like, characteristics,
And you know what?
are you,
That was very cool answer that she gave me, and it was very cool for me to see because why the hell do I need to know? I don't need to
yeah.
know. I don't care. Are we talking about topics? Are we having conversations? Are we like enjoying having these conversations? Yes. Why do I care about who the fuck you sleep with? Oh,
And
wait.
that's
'Cause they
always the
Because
thing
people
that I
aren't
bring
having
up.
those real conversations, so they have to focus on little
they
things like
they've
gender.
made us all want to join, like, you have to join a group. It's like, well,
Yeah,
what if I supported straight people shit? What if I
right,
just said like, "Hey, dudes, I support you. Go be masculine, go be manly, go chop down a tree somewhere and open the door for your lady. I'm on board with that. Let's go."
right.
Then I wouldn't be gay anymore. Like they'd be like, "I'm gonna take your gay card because you support men being men and doing manly ass things." Like
Good,
they've
take
made
that
us all
card. I didn't
choose
like it
sides.
anyway. Mm.
I mean, that's what is so insane. You know, you think about the gay community as a whole and what they have like really fixated on, and it's like,
And it's
when
sex.
when did it ever get to this point where it's like you can only hang out with gay people, you can only be around gay people, like, you know, the gay clubs, like, I'm sorry, is it so only gay people can only go to gay clubs, they can't go to like just regular bars that are for
Well,
everybody?
straight people can't come to gay clubs. We had that a lot too. You couldn't have like if you brought straight people, why is a straight person in here? Well, because you're mad because they're in here because you want to fuck them, and now you know you can't because you know they're straight, and now you're pissed because your options just shortened. So
My
now you're mad.
question is, how did they find out? Did they go up to them and say,
Probably, probably. Or
They probably
the
just
girl
told
had
them
long
that op
fingernails, and they're like, "Oh, you got long fingernails. We know you ain't a lesbian." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
what
why?
an assumption. What
you're
an
a dude with no
assumption.
nail polish? We know you're
That
not
you
gay.
ain't, yeah. And now you mad. And so get this straight person out of this. So they listen, look, they made us phobic. It wasn't our fault. They made us phobic. Now we're phobic. I'm straight phobic because straight people shouldn't be in gay bars. Like that's what we grew up with.
That's so
Messed
funny to
up.
me.
Messed up.
I like, but you know what? I'll say that I probably have been a little bit offish as far as like gay people, only because where I grew up, I never knew any gay people. Like I thought I made up gay. You know what I mean? Like I thought I was the
Jana
first.
started the movement.
Like like I was the original. You know what I mean? I
Jana's
was
the Jana's the
unaware,
founder.
right? So like I think that's where that integrates that whole, like sleeping with or like liking straight women is like I didn't know any gay people. And
Yeah.
the gay people that I met along the way, I was like, no, we're different kinds of gay. You need to be gay over there,
Well, that's what I
away
say
from
now.
me.
Like, I would say that too. Now I'm an like I'm just a regular gay. I'm regular. I
Yeah.
have a Jeep Wrangler. I like Home Depot. I
I call
want
them
like
it's the
I'm regular.
OGs. The OGs.
Yeah, I'm not extra. These little gays are extra right now. I don't know what's happening, but girl, just go to Home Depot. Like, just I don't know. Don't put on whatever you want to do. But this is extra right now. That's happening. Just be regular. What happened to that?
That's the thing. They've gone to the extreme where it's like you can't be a tomboy. You can't just be a feminine guy who is gay. You immediately have to
To be
like
trans.
jump into that, oh, you got to be trans and you got to fully transition.
Oh, what did you think about the movement from the queer theory thing about if you're I have to wrap my mind around this because it hurts. If you're a like say you're a straight woman and then or no, sorry, it would be what would it be? You'd be a straight man, and if you don't find trans women attractive, then you're transphobic. That's because we're not attracted to genitalia, we're attracted to the
And that's
person.
insane because the whole concept behind this, you know, if they want to talk about pride, the concept behind it is the gender that you are attracted to. It is the genitalia. There is no like people they're talking about it on TikTok now. We're like, what is your genitalia preference? Well, no, if it's a lesbian, we already know. We don't have to establish that she likes vagina. Okay? She doesn't want dick. That's what it is. If you're a gay guy, you like other men, and that is it. But now they're labeling everybody, yeah,
Yeah.
homophobic, transphobic if you are
The
a
idea
straight
that
guy
you're
and
not
you're not.
attracted to certain genitalia, or you should be in trouble for the fact that you're not attracted to every genitalia is just ridiculous to me.
It is.
That's
It is.
insane. I'm barely hanging on to the fact that bisexual is real. Barely. Like,
It
I think
isn't.
I think it's
Oh,
like,
it is.
how
It is.
0.01%.
Convenient. It's all about
No.
convenience. Oh,
No.
yes, 100%. Because at the end
I'm
of the
gonna
day, okay, we want
disagree.
to have this discussion? Because we can have this discussion. We can have this discussion if you would like.
Barely hanging on. I'm barely hanging on to bisexual, the B. I am.
No, like if you don't foresee yourself 100% with the opposite sex or the same
Oh, so
sex,
you can't just be sexually attracted to them. You have to be
like it has to be the whole deal.
Now you sound like radical leftist.
I don't care. I don't care. That I'll agree with them. Look. You either for the team or you're not for the team. You can't be for both.
I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna disagree with you then.
Why? Would you
I
be
think
so? So okay, you will
Bisexual is
marry a
defense.
woman. You would marry a woman.
Would I marry a woman?
Yes.
Dude, I already been married. I'm not marrying anyone again.
No. We didn't.
Would
say
I marry
that.
a woman? Probably not. No.
Because you
No.
need dick?
Yes.
Okay,
No.
yeah, no, you straight.
No, that's not true. That's not true. But it has nothing to do with that though.
I like where this is going. Go ahead.
It has more to do with the fact that I just like when a guy takes care of everything that I don't want to take care of. You know what I'm saying?
So
find a butch
Garrett, you
lesbian.
can't do that.
I mean,
Can I do that?
I
Like
take
Garrett,
the garbage out.
like me, like
I guess Garrett could.
I can take the garbage
or
out.
any other woman could do.
I guess
those
not
things.
the women that I've been around. No, the ones.
Well, stop messing with straight women, girl. Start messing with lesbians. Why are you over there fucking around with straight girls? Stop it. That's what you get. Then you need dick. That's why.
That's just my point. Is that like, yes, you can be bisexual if you want to call it that, but at the end of the day, if you're not going to seriously marry and start a life with a woman, 9 times out of 10, you're probably not really into women as much as you would like to think you are. Like
I'm still gonna have to disagree with you. Then.
Well, let me pose this
disagree.
last question before you agree to disagree. If you got with a dude and you had a boyfriend and whatever, would you tell him like, "Hey, honey, sometimes I'm gonna need to bring a girl into this relationship," or sometimes?
Absolutely.
Then no. If you were with a woman, would you tell her sometimes I'm gonna need? You're gay as shit. Like, stop. Stop. You're so gay. All right, we figured it out. I'm done for the whole day. That's good. I'm good for the
either or.
That's it.
Either or.
Oh my god, I got a stitch. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I'm good at this. All right, I guess we got out of the serious.
Well, I feel like that was a great way to kind of come to an end because I gotta jump off here. But this was great.
Thank you again,
Garrett. Thank you for closing that case for us.
Thank you for taking it.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for having us.
Love you guys.
All right. Have a great day.
Y'all too.
Bye.
Winning things. Deuces.